Today I'm making a lovely bar that has some wonderful skin lightening and natural properties. I have started here with my oils of rice bran, coconut, olive, shea butter, and castor. And I've done my own super fatting with an extra tablespoonful of cocoa butter and an extra tablespoon of avocado oil. So that has already been added to the batch. I'm using coconut milk, and I'm using an organic coconut milk. I love Trader Joe's, and I have it here already measured out. My lye water concentration is, I take the amount that the recipe calls for in distilled water, and I subtract from that my organic pureed carrots, which I pureed myself, and 2 tablespoons of organic raw honey. And it's not locally sourced, but I'm using this brand I like from Kirkland. And so this gets added, this gets subtracted from the distilled water portion. And then from that number, I'm going to go ahead and add this. This is going to go right in here, every last drop. And I mill these myself close to when I'm going to use it. And if I do a bunch in advance, I do freeze it sometimes. And that seems to work just fine. So I am adding that to there. And then, so from that total distilled water, I subtract the carrots and the honey. And then I get the balance. And basically there's a maximum, the strongest lye water concentration recommended, which is, some people call it a super lye. And that's essentially just whatever the lye amount is, that amount of water. So I took the amount of carrots and honey and subtracted that. I then subtracted out the minimum lye that I could use, and I had my balance in coconut milk, which was the most coconut milk I could add. And so I'm adding this now too. And I'm gonna have to stick blend this really well. I've noticed it was at room temperature. There's so much milk fat in this, but I noticed a couple pieces that were, there might have been some solid pieces. And look at the carrots in there with that. Okay, so I'm also, to this, I'm going to add, I mill my own steel cut oats, and you can't just grind up processed oats. You want to be able to use the oat groat. It's also known as a pinhead oat, and oat groats, golden sportle. But anyway, I like this Bob brand. There are many others out there, but I can take that 8-ounce, 24-ounce bag, and I can get sometimes more than 2 of these jars full, and that'll last me a long time. And I mill it. I actually have more success milling it in my NutriBullet with the milling blade. I'm adding 3 teaspoons only because I have a lot of other additives. And the oatmeal is just wonderful. So I'm going to stick blend this, like I said. Have some finely milled calendula, which I mill myself, and again with the milling blade with my NutriBullet. And then I have turmeric. So the turmeric and the calendula, they're both very anti-inflammatory. I have my lye water here, and let's just see what temperature we're at. 68 and 66. So I'd say that's close. That's lovely temperatures for me to be soaping. And I'm going to go ahead and add my sorry. I'm going to pour that light water down the shaft. It almost, when it's really cool, it almost looks like K-Bar syrup. And I do want every drop of that because everything is calculated down to the gram. Add a little extra oils. You can subtract a little water. But I don't like to make any adjustments to the lye because you need that concentration that's calculated to be sure that your soap is not lye heavy. To do is I'm going to add, I've already measured it out in here. This is like the minimum amount of essential oil I can add, and I'm adding blood orange. And that has a beautiful orange color mixed with all these other orange colors. In a large amount. So in this bigger bucket, I'm going to add my turmeric, which this is 3 tablespoons. Let me last drop it out of there. And then this is going to get my calendula powder, which is also 3 tablespoons. Oh my gosh, look at that.
that's starting to thicken up. It's getting to a good tray. Whenever I use powder, I just kind of use the blender to knock it down. Okay. I've got my Winston Ultra mold right here. And I always clean it off. So I think that's right there. So I'm going to take this. You can see how that's set up, but we'll still go through there. I'm just going really deep once.
I'm using my favorite stainless steel skewer, a gift from my daughter Trista the Wiggly Bee. I make a number of passes, and that seems to give a nice swirl pattern. I'm layering up the leftover soap, my turmeric and my calendula, and that will work out perfectly.
And this is the one with the turmeric. It made it have the darker color. And the other side is the milled calendula. I've been milling my own calendula for a good while. It's much less expensive. I get an entire beautiful bag from Brindleberry for $14.98. That is one of the things that is so well priced from them. I feel like every supplier has some things I consider maybe lost leaders or whatever, and that one's a really good one. I also have a lot of the micas that they're still only $3.99 for the 1 ounce jars, and I like having the jar. I prefer that so much to bags. You can always reach for them on the counter, and they're there, or I can see them there. Let's put it that way. Okay, so it has some little tines on the end of it. It's actually a grapefruit spin. And this is really set up quite a bit. Looks like a perfect time to texture. And sometimes it's really frustrating to wait on it to be able to be that perfect time to texture. And we always want to kind of push it. I'm not impatient at all, but when you have people, especially on the live watching, and you feel like they've been waiting a long time, the tendency is to go ahead and do it. And certainly to try it out. That is really pretty. And let's see. There we go. So there we go. This is, oh goodness, can't even remember what I call this, but it's calendula. It's, there are raw carrots in it, honey, calendula, turmeric, my colloided oatmeal that I make myself, and some blood orange essential oil. And then in oils and butters, I have olive oil, coconut oil, rice bran oil, shea butter, castor oil, avocado oil, and cocoa butter. So it will be just a very, very, I think, a calming anti-inflammatory bar with some anti-inflammatory properties. Oh, and then also the organic coconut milk. So, and the raw honey, if I forgot to mention that again, the organic raw honey. So it has a little bit of everything, but it's a really wholesome bar. So I may have wholesome in the name somewhere. I'll have to look back and see what I called it in the past. Have a great day, and thank you for joining.